Now, if you said that Professor Jerry Gana has lived a life of triumphs and trials, you wouldn't be too far off the mark. As he marks his 80th birthday, many are reflecting on his life less ordinary, one that's been dedicated to public service, education, and nation building. The former Minister of Information and Communications is a renowned scholar, but is also a PDP stalwart who has navigated the complexities of Nigerian politics with a resilience that's earned him both admiration and criticism. From his early days as a fiery student leader to his current role as a respected voice in Nigerian politics, Professor Gana's journey has been something of a roller coaster. And tonight, as he celebrates this milestone, we'll recall his contributions to nation building, his commitments to democracy, and the mark he's left on Nigerian politics after decades of grit, grace, and enduring influence. And tonight we've got him in the hot seat as he shares his political experience as well as his recollections of Nigeria through independence, the civil war, military rule, the return to democracy, and into today. And for me, it's an absolute pleasure to say that Professor Jerry Gana joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Charles. That's
and
congratulations
very gracious
of you. Thank you.
on turning 80.
Thank you very
and
much.
looking as sprightly as ever.
The grace of God, sheer grace of God.
Well, I was going to say that turning 80 is clearly a significant milestone. What do you believe has sustained you through the years?
Thank you. Let me first of all thank you very much for this opportunity of this interview. It will take somebody like you to, but I thank you very much for those very gracious words in the introduction. I appreciate tremendously.
Graciously true words.
Oh, thank you very much. Am I allowed to keep it on my CV? First of all, my faith in God has been very, very, very powerful in my life. And it's very deep and it's very necessary. Nobody should underestimate having life of faith in God. Because God has integrity. He can be trusted. He can't deceive you. And over the years, you know, because I've been with him and he knows the way, I rarely miss the way. He's been guiding us. Secondly, with him, you have a very sense of achievement because God has the capacity to get things done. That's what I love about him. You know, people can promise, they may not have the ability. But God, when he promises, he has the ability to deliver. So that has been wonderful. Secondly, I thank God that when I married well. My wife has been a sheer delight. She's been a real homemaker, giving me a lot of peace at home. I look forward to coming, back home to rest and peaceful. She looks after us very, very well, myself and the children. We're very delighted with the children we've raised. They've gone various ways and they're really tremendous. That's the second part. So God, family. And then in life, if you are fortunate to choose good partners, because nobody can go it alone, but you have to be wise in choosing. Some people, they will destroy you. They'll bring all sorts of tensions to you. Some of my friends are very careful in choosing friends. I mean, you can relate with people, but you have few trustworthy friends. And one of them, I've been together with him since 1967. Wow. And it's still very, very bad. So those are some of the things that have really been tremendously helpful to me, that the faith in God, the love in the family, and the partnership in people that are going on, whether in teaching. When I was teaching at Ahmadu Bello University, very exciting. The faculty I belonged to there was the real exciting center.
Obviously, it also helps to have a good doctor as well.
Fortunately, actually, I haven't had much to see doctors. God has been very, very gracious to me. The word of God says, the joy of the Lord is your strength. It's a very powerful word. Joy gives a lot of strength and energy.
Well, let's try and get some sense of who you are, where you've come from, who you are today, and how you got there. Give us a very brief snapshot, very brief, of your early years. I mean, where were you born and how did your life unfold?
Thank you very much. I come from a small village, well, small town now, but a small village called Busu, near Bida and Doko in Niger State. I'm Nope, and I'm very, very proud to be Nope. And I went to the junior primary school next to me. I walked to school, you know. Now it looks so distant, actually. So you walked all this? I said, every morning. Very exciting. So I went to the junior primary school at Gaba. Gaba is near to Busu. There are schools now in Busu, but in those days only Gaba. Then from there I went to the senior primary school in Bida, near the Emir's Palace. We called it Ndanyoko Senior Primary School, named after the Emir then. You know, he ruled for years, you know, very, very. And then from there I went to the provincial, that wasn't a government college then, now government college. But then it was Niger Provincial Secondary School.
And what year would that have
That
been?
was in 1960,
Right.
the year of Nigeria's independence. We were those who learned the national, we are back to it now. And I had the privilege of being in a very, very good school. People who really motivated us, people like Ibrahim Babangida, you know, he was our head boy in school. And he was very, very nice to me right from when we were youth, Abdul Salam. So many of them, we were after them, but many of them went into the army.
Right.
We went the other way. We went into the university. We were very intellectual. They were very muscular. And they did very, very well. You know, two of them became heads of state. And I think they left legacies of honor, whatever may they. Yeah, so thereafter, when I finished, I went to Okene Secondary School for my higher school certificate. In those days, we go from secondary to higher secondary school. And then that was at Okene. Okene was a very, very good center for those who wanted to do engineering, doing maths, physics. Brilliant people.
Indeed. You would have to be.
And then those of us who went for science and art. So I did very well. I remember one of the things that I really remember a lot, and I'm so delighted about, I came out with the best, you know, higher school certificate results in the entire northern states. And that was in 1967.
That's brilliant.
And I was very, very proud of it. And then from there, it was an admission into university. I didn't even have to struggle because it was just an entry.
And when you look back on your life, just trying to sort of gallop ahead, what stands out to you as the most significant influence in those early years, and how did it shape your future?
2 or 3 things. First of all, I remember very well we had very good teachers. My English teacher must be one of the best in the world. You know, all of us who went through him, we came up, you know, real first class in, you know, both in diction and origin and so on. You know, a tremendous man, Mr. Bill, fantastic guy. And then we had a principal who showed leadership. So right from when I was young, I admired good leadership. Our principal was a very, very authoritarian person, but fair. You know, very, very fair. Although, you know, he would. So then when I proceeded to Okene Secondary School, my colleagues, you know, those who came from other parts of the northern state, you know, very, very distant, very, very sharp. You know, so I was inspired to do my best. And then I went to Ahmadu Bello University, again, very, very good. And then I finished very, very well and went to King's College, Aberdeen. I had a course, I had the opportunity to go to Oxford or something. I said, no. I went to Aberdeen because I love the course which was being advertised, which was to do rural resources planning. I come from a rural area, and I want to really see how we can transform the rural areas and bring out rural development. That was the attraction. So
have you managed to apply what you studied?
Oh yeah, I did. I finished with a PhD because I did very well in my master's, so I was translated into PhD right away. So I finished in 1973, came back to Ahmadu Bello University in 1974. I taught for many years until 1985, 86. Although I went into the Senate in between. Maybe we'll come back to that. So I was very, very delighted that I was doing things that I found relevant, and started, for example, in ABU, a master's program on rural resources planning. Very, very, very popular. Because all, you know, students will now finish and then go back to their states, and they were really being very effective in doing urban and regional planning. Then I was also in the Faculty of Environmental Design. Also because this is my training, became very useful to those who are training to be architects in rural landscape designs and so on. It's beautiful. So I was enjoying my teaching. My students were good. I enjoyed my thing. Then suddenly, Some of my colleagues felt I should join the political sphere.
Well, that was going to be my next question. How did your fascination, perhaps that's a strong word, how did your encounter with politics and public life begin? Briefly.
It was through engagement, because as a person who is interested in development and transformation, it worried me a lot that whenever we travel a lot from Zaria all the way to my village, no changes. There's poverty rotten everywhere. It was a very serious challenge. So in 1979, when we returned back into politics, so I was the government in my own state, and I was going through 79, 88, nothing, not much. And even one thing they brought to do water supply, after putting it down, they didn't work. I got so I became very critical. So I went back to the ABO to study groups, small groups, and then there was this, the drafting of the 1999 Constitution, called the selection of delegates from everywhere to come to join the drafting committee, first of all, under Rotimi Williams. Thereafter, the Constituent Assembly, where we selected people to go, and that was where I really got, because we made sure that we got some of our best, very, very brilliant, from various parts, because we are minorities in the northern states. So our own area was defined. How do we get the best to make sure we are not cheated in this formulation of the Nigerian state? Three things we are very, very, very serious about. As younger, first and foremost, that this democracy we are going into, this new governance we are going into, must be people-centered. People have really forgotten, and yet they are the heart of the matter. So that was number one. And that's why it's not surprising that the party which we created, we gave it to say power to the people, right from when we started. Then the second force was that very brilliant upcoming who took interest in us, in young academics, who were full of ideas. They loved us to come to meetings. Chief Solomon La is now gone, but was brilliant, very, very good. He listened to us, and when he has good ideas, he will run with the ideas and move on. Elijah Abubakar Rimi, so this, when they became governors in 1979, we became their advisors. We could see a manifestation of ideas on the ground because they took the ideas, ran with it, and things were beautiful. So it became very attractive to say, look, if they can succeed like this in Plateau and in Kano and Balarabe Musa and Kaduna, I saw that things can work. So I said, look, why don't you go and also engineer something back in Niger State, where there was, so that's how
that was the inspiration.
That was the inspiration to get things done.
And I mean, do you think Nigerian politicians lose their empathy for the plight of the people once they get into office? Because I mean, you've spoken very, quite a lot about wanting to make a change, and you studied sort of, had rural studies and so on. I mean, because they always seem to be trying to put the leader who put them into office and to hold on to that. You see what I mean? That there is that sense that there is a loss of empathy for the plight of the people once they get into office. They become much more concerned with holding on to office. You see what I mean?
Yeah. You're right. Fortunately, it didn't happen with me. And the difference was that I was very, very motivated by my love for the people, because that love wasn't just natural. It was springing out of my spiritual life. Because, if you really want to be a good Christian, you have to be light and let your light so shine that they may see the good works and glorify God. So that aspect of it is very important. So what was important for me was not the position, was impact on the people, making their lives better. Am I being a good example? Am I motivating them? Am I changing their situation? Am I being relevant? So position didn't,
But were you ever in a position to make that difference? Because I mean, I'm trying to get a sense of the political positions you held.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I tried to be governor. I didn't get to, so maybe that's what. So I first of all went into the National Assembly. I was elected into the Senate. But of course, only 3 months somebody came, the person in 1983. So we had to go back to. So there's a sense in which I was essentially not in the direct executive until when I came in as a minister, and then again basically serving, but the leader was either the president or some other person. So basically the positions didn't discourage me from loving and keeping close to the people. And amazingly, the people don't forget. My son is now in the House of Assembly, in the House of Representatives. When he went to campaign 2 years ago, in many of the constituencies, people remember, they tell him, they ask him, you are the son of so and so? He says, yes, huh? Well, your campaign is over.
But do you agree with those who say that all political careers in Nigeria end in failure? Because they all say they're going to end poverty, give the people electricity, create lots of jobs, overcome insecurity. But most times it's not delivered to the extent of the promise or that the people expect it to be delivered.
Unfortunately, to a large extent, that's been the experience of a number. I must confess that people get lost because they usually do not have a critical path to what they want to achieve. Because if you design it, you will know exactly what and what you need to do at each point in time. Many of them, get crowded by material things they want to acquire. And once you want to acquire wealth, you forget the people. But I come from a culture where people matter more than things. In fact, I won my election to the Senate on a song, which I raised for the ordinary people. To have people is much more than things. Anyone who has the people is rich. If you don't have the people, you are nothing. That's in our philosophical setting. So it helped me that the people matter more. And it's also very, very, biblical. So I didn't have any problem that it was exactly what God loves the world so much that he gave his only begotten son. So people are very, very precious. So this is it. But those who want to go for position of riches, they usually lose it. They just want to go and acquire, and that's it.
Excuse me.
And
so here you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been through all of this. You've learned your lessons. I mean, political lessons. You were in a party that was preeminent, and then it left office. You yourself switched parties a few times and came back.
Just once.
Well, you went to the SDP.
No, just once.
Right.
And we created it. There was no change in philosophy.
Right. And then, I mean, but when you look back at the Nigeria that materialized in the 60s at independence, that inspired you so much to do so much, and the one that you see today, the Nigeria that you see today, are you shocked at where things are at the moment?
Very much so, but I think the current people, they lost their way. Unfortunately, they didn't intend to, but they lost their way. Because when we restored democracy, and that's part of what I'm really very, very delighted about, coming in about 1998, 1999, we were the ones who created the People's Democratic Party, and based on solid, very, very good ideas. And when we restored democracy in 1999, through winning the elections, we won the presidency, we won in the Senate, we won in the House of Rep, we won 27 states as governors. So the PDP was really mandated by the people of Nigeria. And believe you me, we worked. I must salute the wisdom and courage of President Obasanjo. The reason why I love him as a leader is that he was a decision maker. He had the courage of taking decisions. I wish I had the time to tell you the number of key decisions. All the institutions that are now in place, all of them were created during that time, including when we came in, there were only 500,000 lines, telephone lines, the whole of Nigeria. Then I brought him, a memo that a new technology we have about this GSM. Believe you, he didn't know much about it, but he said, "Look, Jerry, approved." And I brought a friend who introduced me to that technology. He was in the telecoms. We brought him to be the first, that's the Nigerian Communications Commission. And from nowhere, now, over 200 million lines.
Indeed.
Oh, it was very powerful. He sent me to South Africa twice, because when the GSM lines were put in for sale, we didn't have enough capacity. People really wanted to come and buy the lines. Those who had the engineering to really lay it out. We discovered that MTN in South Africa, we were told they have it. But they were not interested in coming to Nigeria. I went to South Africa twice to beg them to come and buy the line. I thank Thabo Mbeki, I thank Mandela. They received me very well and introduced me to them. And I went to that, and they came. And if you want to drive them away, I don't think they will. Because they've done very, very well. But I must say, in those days, we were not interested in coming to Nigeria at all. So we took a number of decisions. Now, immediately we left, as Obasanjo left, Yar'Adua did fairly well. Unfortunately, he passed on. Otherwise, he wanted to go on with that zeal of performing. And then there was a crisis during Yar'Adua's time. They didn't want Jonathan, who was the vice president, to take over. It was very serious. I thank God for General Gawan. I left Abuja, went to him in Jos and said, look, sir, you have to come in at this point to interview. And he mandated me to convene. He gave me the list of people that he wanted at a meeting. We had a ECOWAS parliament here. And he mandated me to go and do it. And I went around all the names he gave me. And they convened at the ECOWAS parliament here in Abuja. All of them, every single one of them came because they respected General Gawan. And it was at that meeting, a retired Chief Justice of Nigeria gave us the doctrine of necessity. That's what took us out of that situation.
That's where it came from.
Yeah, that's where it came from. Then I said, look, sir, gentlemen, that's what we call in law a doctrine of necessity. In the situation we are describing, that's what we need to do. We rose from there, went to the Senate. Senator David Mark was the Senate president then. He received us and said, look, guys, this is what will get us out of this situation. Doctrine of necessity. Get one of your senators to move a motion. And what ought to have been done has been done. And that's how Jonathan now...
Fascinating. I thought this would be a very interesting... Unfortunately, we're almost at the end of this very interesting conversation because it was supposed to last about half an hour. But what advice would you give to Nigerians, particularly young people, about navigating the complexities of life and politics in this country from the point of view of your own experience?
First and foremost, enter politics based on ideals. Don't ever just go because you want to grab off or you want to acquire. It's to serve and and in the process of serving, you may also be served. But don't aim at acquiring things and doing the office and so on. Go with the ideals because the ideals will propel you. They'll give you satisfaction. They give you joy. This is what has been happening. You know, all the things that we see in 1999, when we were forming the 1998 when we were forming the party, I read them now, I'm still excited. So young people go for ideals, go for values, not for just simple things. You know, these days they are so impatient. In politics, you have to be patient because people are difficult, people are tough. But as you move on, doors may open, you move. Secondly, good partners. Get people of credibility and integrity. Don't go into wrong groups. I thank God. That's why I remember some of my colleagues very much. I thank God for them. Most of them are gone now. But they were wonderful. When I first entered politics in 19, I was a young man. Zik, the Honorable Dr. Namida Zik, he inspired me. They took me as a young man then to go and convince him to come into our party in 1970. And said, look, I will not do it because, but for these young people, I will come. We went to him in Nusuka, and I remember he said, I'm coming. And he came, and when I was campaigning to be a senator, Zik came to my constituency. That was the largest rally I've ever seen in my own constituency. You know, so there's a sense in which I would like to say to the young people, get into good partners. You know, have people you believe in, work together. Don't go into people who can disappoint you, who have nothing to offer. And then thirdly, get things done. Part of leadership, you must have credibility. That's only, leaders must be people who can have initiatives. But initiatives are very good, but also have to have the capacity to get things done. What is frustrating me in this country is lack of capacity. Here are things to be done. You waste time. There was a leader who did almost 8 years. I was so frustrated. Yeah?
We shall leave that leader unnamed, shall we?
Unnamed. That's why I can see you looking at me. So, but most of us know.
Yeah, I think most people
apart
do.
From capacity, there's a sense in which you must really also have courage.
Indeed.
Tremendous courage, especially in Nigeria. If you don't have courage, you won't get anything done here.
Prof, I want to congratulate you.
Thank you very,
turning
very
80
much.
And also for the great things you've done in your life and for this country. Professor Jerry Gana is marking his 80th birthday. He was a former Minister of Information and Communications. Congratulations and thank you very much for coming in.
I wish you'll be 82 and 90.
I wish
and
so
100.
myself, but we shall have to see how things progress. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Charles.
You're watching